for the 3 M's of Wall Street, on page 568 of Benjamin Graham's Intelligent Investor. I highly recommend this book if you have not seen it yet, if you've not read it yet. I just finished it maybe 2 weeks ago, and I've learned so much. It's helped me become a better investor overall, and it's maybe to see different things I haven't thought about before. But gematria wise, let's get into the 3 M's. In the book, it said the 3 M's on Wall Street is mystery, manipulation, and margins. Wall Street keeps info a mystery to manipulate because every dollar counts. Those slim margins. And when I read that, it made so much sense. Because in the stock market, if you a lot of these guys, how they get their gains in the big leads is via insider trading. They have that inside angle. But how do they manipulate retail investors to buy their shares at the top when they don't know the company's going down? It's to manipulate. It's to have that mystery because the retail investor doesn't necessarily know what's really going on in the back end. So that gematria decode I have right here is mystery, manipulation, margin, and it's 332. Now, it's not necessarily the spot on the 333, which I like, but it's one off. And kind of how Devin brought up earlier, one could be a placeholder. Well, in this case, one is seen as a plus minus margin you're allowed to have with the rule of Colel in gematria. It says energetically, if you're 1 digit off, it's close enough. And so in this case, I feel like when it comes to slim margins, it's close enough to 333. Then we have mystery, manipulation in Wall Street forces investors to manage the margin. 303 in reduction. That's the the English reduction, the purest reduction cipher. So that's important. 33. Another one, mystery, manipulation, and margin are the 3 M's of the stock market Wall Street lives by. 330 in English reduction. Then Wall Street keeps info a mystery to manipulate retail investors because every dollar counts. We have that, a beholden 333 in the purest reduction cipher. So that's a really big decode, and I think it really breaks down the reality we are in as retail investors in this market. So keep all this in mind and get that book. It's really worth it. Going on to the next slide. So if you guys are on Twitter at all, if you like me, I follow some financial analysts. Now, a lot of these cats, they're all bogus. Nobody really knows what's going on in the market, but a lot of them, some of them, the smart ones, they have nuggets you can pick up on to use for yourself. And that's how you should use any person you listen to for advice or, not advice, not financial advice, but for any type of educational entertainment purposes, including me. You don't have to agree with everything I say, but maybe you could take something that I have an angle on for your own thesis in investing. Now, for Michael Gayed, he's a pretty well acclaimed investor, a couple awards for a couple of his papers. I follow him on Twitter. He trolls a lot, and he even said, don't listen to any people, any talking heads on Twitter. But when I read this in October, it stood out to me. He says, amateurs look to the right of the equal sign. Pros look to the left. And one of his catchphrases, he says few, as in few understand this. And I kind of thought about that, and it makes a lot of sense. Think of an equation. In life, they always say, it's all about the journey. Well, the journey is on the left side of the equation. The result, that's on the right side. If you worry about the result too much, you don't worry about the left side, you're not going to have that magical formula that you're looking for. For Einstein to get E equals to mc squared, he had to do a lot of processing, and that takes time. That's on the left side. That's the same thing with the stock market. Everything happens for a reason in the stock market. All right, so you just have to make sure you're putting yourself in the right wave. And so for some gematria, this is what I have, and I think there's some really big decodes here. Left side of equation makes ritual. Again, Everything's about ritual in this world, in this matrix. So that's important. 333. Left side of equal sign is a major key. 333. But it also equals 171 in reverse reduction. So it has two of the four, decodes in the four base ciphers. Very powerful. Then we have left side, parentheses, important mechanisms and processes equals right side, the result. 333 in reverse reduction. That's another big one, It's the equation right there. And even Warren Buffett says a lot of what happens in the Wall Street, it's a lot of magic. It's a lot of fluffy things just to get people bought into stories. Magic equals results, 222 in English ordinal. We have to understand that 222 is important, just like how 2022 is important, because it goes back to Saturn control, and whatnot. So I've talked about 333, 222 a lot. Those repeating master numbers. Results only matter if the left side of the equation is correct. And so let's backtrack a little bit to the finance stocks with Saturn entering Pisces from 2023 to 2026. All right, again, Saturn entered Pisces March 7th. Silicon Valley goes down 3 days later. I make a video in an article talking about, hey, if we position ourselves correctly in certain finance stocks, there's opportunity long term to get in at valuable prices, at discounted prices, and something that we can work off of. Because in a lot of these banking stocks, they have been overvalued. And so let's just go through a couple of the credit event banking crises. The word credit event has been going on a lot lately. People have been talking about it. And so in March 2023 alone, for the bank failures, we had Silvergate, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank. So, and also we have to understand, looking here, Silicon Valley Bank was the second largest bank failure in American history. Right behind that, Signature Bank was the third largest bank failure in American history. And that's in March alone. And it's a bigger problem that could continue to unravel moving forward. So while, yes, I'm looking for opportunities in the banking sector, the financial asset sector, even the insurance sector, you have to be wary of what's going on. So always use risk management. And even we see internationally, it's also happening. Credit Suisse, we always think of Switzerland as such a powerful force with money, so stable. Everybody puts their money into Switzerland because it's a safe haven for the elite's money. And now you're seeing Credit Suisse goes down, and they have to get bought out by UBS, which is the bigger Switzerland bank. So everyone's feeling it everywhere in the world. But for myself and for a lot of investors, they have a natural optimism. And I also have a natural optimism as well, because I feel like if you bet against the world too much, you're betting against your quality of life and your own money. And while I do think America is going through some rough patches, I do think in general, through history and what I've researched and studied, America has always been a place where everyone in the world has gone to make money. When Egypt came over to get the copper for the Bronze Age in Michigan, when the Native Americans, when the Black Africans came over here, they set up trade routes through the Great Plains. They used, those obsidian reflectors as shipping, like they had Amazon Prime back in the day. And so when I read those stories, I understand America has always been an economic hotbed. So I don't think we're necessarily going down. And so with that being said, 223 banking crisis means bottom is in. 330 in English ordinal. Again, that 33. Look, the market's been choppy right now, and I think that means in long term we're going to be looking at a bottoming out in the market. I don't think it could get much worse. You know, if we have a couple more big bank failures, of course, we need that to happen. But if you use risk management, you should be okay.